Welcome back to Talkin Too Much with Hanna O'Reilly. I'm Hanna O'Reilly, and this is episode 15. So, welcome back. Let me start with that. I want to point out, maybe you noticed there was no intro song. I'm going to be playing around a little bit with that, and I am not vibing with this song choice anymore. I just kind of picked it on a whim one day, and I've been doing it for a couple episodes, and I'm like, I got to transition out of this one, and with some of the topics I'm going to talk about on this pod, I'm like, this is going to be the one that we get rid of the carnival sounding music. I don't feel it's appropriate. So, yeah. So if you notice that, that's why. I want to touch on a bunch of different things today. The difference between last episode and this episode, between the world, my mental, a shift happening in the world and myself, I don't even know. I can't even, it's crazy how much can change in a week. So I'm going to get right into it. And it's just, I've been struggling with this one because I don't know. It's weird because I'm seeing online, like, a lot of people don't know how to feel right now. It is a very strange feeling. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I mean, I'm sure you do. Charlie Kirk, political figure and also religious figure, was assassinated on a college campus, which is where he would go and debate students and have conversations with students about different political topics, while also making sure he brought God up and, just was a man of faith. And that was very obvious in a lot of his videos. And to see what happens when someone goes out and says what they believe, and whether that's political or religious, and then is killed for that, it makes things very scary and confusing. And a life is a life. A life is a life. And it's just, I don't know. It's very unsettling. It's very unsettling. And luckily, what I'm seeing online is that a lot of people are taking this tragedy and clinging to God more than ever. I've seen people posting about how they haven't been to church in years. And this week was the week. They're praying. They're not afraid to share their faith anymore. And, as horrible as it is and as horrible as the situation was, there's so much good that is seemingly coming out of this. I hope this revival of people praying and going to church and all that continues, because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. At the end of the day, it is literally the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters is getting to heaven. So when you really zoom out and think about that, it puts things into perspective, and you kind of ask yourself, why haven't I been doing this the whole time? And it's fine if you haven't, but it takes sometimes a moment like this to really leave you no choice. And I don't know, it's crazy, but I do believe sometimes God has to take so much away for us to fully understand that. And again, we're only human, so we can only understand so much, but we're doing our best down here. And it's kind of crazy because before all this happened, last week I sat down and did this episode, and I was pretty emotional, and I was talking about this like internal shift that I felt was happening within myself. And I think a lot of it is religious. And it took a lot for me to go on and sit down and say that. And I don't even think I said much, to be honest. I think I didn't know what to say, but I knew inside of me there's something in me that wants more for myself and more for this life and for the people around me and everybody that I encounter. And I think that shift was beginning to happen I think it's been happening for months, but it started to fully reach its peak last week. And then after the Charlie Kirk incident happened, and just so many things have started to shift. And I hope I'm not rambling too much, because it's so easy to just think you know what you're saying, and then you sit down and you start talking and you're like, am I even making sense? But I think if anyone is feeling the same way that I'm feeling, you probably get it. You probably get what's going on up here and in here. So I don't know. I've slowly brought my faith up on this podcast, and I think one of the episodes I said, I can't be my authentic self if I don't bring faith up. And when I started the pod, I was like, nah, probably not. I didn't go out of my way to not bring it up, but I think that, there was a part of me that's like, I'm not going to talk about this because I don't want to lose followers. I'll be honest. I don't want to lose listeners. What if someone's listening that isn't religious, and then like they click out and they don't want anything to do with this? If anything, I hope they stay, and I hope they can learn something. And I don't know a ton. I only know how I go through my life and what works for me and my interactions with other human beings on this planet. And that's really all I can share. And if that's going to make a difference, then I'm going to keep doing it. And after I put that episode out about God, I really felt so free. I think I really was like, I'm meant to bring his name up as much as possible. And even that week, I had a couple friends come to me for advice on things. And sometimes I'll skirt around the type of advice I give based on the friend that's asking me the question, or anyone. And I don't want to do that anymore. I need to make sure that when I'm sitting down with a microphone in my hand, I'm being so authentically myself, and I'm leaving it up to you guys to decide if you're going to stick around and listen, or if you're going to click out and unsubscribe. I can't, alter what I'm saying and walk on eggshells just to try and keep people around, because it won't work. And it'll start to become obvious when I'm not being myself, and when I'm not using my platform for what it was meant to be used for. And it's so interesting. So 2 weeks ago or so, I had a little bit of a long car ride. I was going to Jersey to visit my sister in New York City, and I decided that I was going to listen to music that was fulfilling. So I listened to country music with religious undertones, like Jesus Take the Wheel, How Great Thou Art, and even some Christian music, like I Can Only Imagine, things like that. And first off, let me say this. My nervous system was at an all-time low. And, you kind of drive with ease, and you just don't take things as serious. And this was 2 weeks ago. So this obviously had been something that I was wanting to start doing. And I've even talked to my sisters about this. Like, there's just something about certain people who really use their platforms to talk about God and talk about life, and I don't even know how to say it. There's just something about these people, like they glow different. And I am like, I want to walk in rooms and people know that girl loves God. That girl loves Jesus. And I don't want there to ever be any question of where I stand. So anyway, this was 2 weeks ago. I'm in the car and I'm listening to this music. And I had this thing in me where I've always wanted to keep growing and become bigger and bigger on whatever platform I'm on. And, maybe I want to live in this big city and the lights and the glamour and all this stuff. And in that moment, I was like, I'm going to pray to God right now. And I'm going to say to him, if you want my platform to grow, let it grow. I'm releasing control over this because I was waking up every day feeling like, what are the numbers? Where are we at? How am I doing? And it's like, it loses its, you're in it for the wrong reasons then. And I said, if you want this platform to grow for me, let it happen. And if you let it happen, I will be sure that I bring your name up whenever I can, whether it's on an episode, whether it's in conversation with people, when I walk in a room, I will make sure people know about you. So I offered that up and I kept driving. And then another episode of this pod came out and another episode, and I've brought his name up. And today I feel like I'm going to make sure of that. So anyway, that's where we're at. I hope that wasn't a little all over the place, but if it is, it's the reality. So again, we're not going to just pretend and polish things and talk like we know everything. I'm just trying to live here with the rest of you. So you're going to hear a lot more of that. And I want to talk about just like this transition in my life that I've been really working on, and it's crazy that a tragedy had to be the thing that really takes it over the edge, but God knows what he's doing, and that's we just have to trust that. So another thing I want to say, and I'm curious if anyone else feels this way, that like so many things don't matter right now, like in the sense that so many things are so earthly feeling and so just like surface level, like, so I don't know, like I went on social media and I'm like seeing people just like, I don't know, try to sell things or like a day in the life and whatever, and like these are things I love to watch and do, and I film plenty myself, but I just have been having this feeling where I'm like, that it's just I need more than that. I need I don't know, I want more, and I'm hungry. I'm very hungry for this new lifestyle that I'm going to be stepping into. And that's really all I can say at this point. I don't really know what else, what's going to come of this, but I hope you join the ride, and I hope we can, maybe do this together. But I think I got my points across. I'm sure once I am exporting this video, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I meant to say this and that and this and that. So I listen to a lot of Christian-based podcasts, and one being Girls Gone Bible. I listen to Ali Yost, and just some others. But, they were talking, Maddie Pruitt, I want to say her name is. She was on The Bachelor. I think she was Pilot Pete's season. So if you want to look her up, Maddie, she's got like long brown hair. They were talking, they were on each other's episodes, whatever. And they were talking and they were like, you want to be everybody wants to be relatable. It's a lot, you feel like it's a lot easier to be relatable. Like, oh, everyone loves me and I can connect, everyone understands what I'm trying to say. And you do hit a point where relatability and compromising your own truth and your own beliefs start to overlap, and suddenly it becomes harder and harder to become relatable. And I think that's something I was running into. I'm like, I want to be relatable, and I want to make sure I only talk about things that like everyone knows what's going on, and then all of a sudden a topic comes up and it's the time to talk about my faith, and I'm like, I don't have a choice right now. Like I am at a crossroads, and it's time. I have to say these things. Like God's like waiting for me. Like, come on, girl. Like you got it. And I thought that really stuck out to me when they said that. Like you really can only be relatable to a point, and then at some point, people can choose to not listen. They can choose to join in. They can whatever. Everyone has their own opinion, their own freedom to do what they want, which is why I think the Charlie Kirk incident did affect me so much, because I do believe, like, I respect people's opinions, and I would hope that they would respect mine as well. And all you have to do is click out. That's all you have to do. You don't need to take someone's life. You can just X out. It's funny. I talked about on the pod the feeding the beast. And if you've listened to some of my old episodes, I talk about how, when you're annoyed at something, you immediately want to call someone and then get them riled up, and then they're pouring gasoline on the incident that you're already dealing with, and you guys are like kind of in this turmoil together, and you think it feels good, but it really actually makes you feel gross. And I called it feeding the beast. And it's funny because that's the perfect example of like, I was trying to keep it a vague term for the sake of the podcast. And I'm like, oh, I'll just say the beast. The beast is just like a negativity that lives inside of you. It's the devil. I avoided saying devil because I was like, well, what if people don't? It's the devil. And I've noticed that more and more with myself, that I come across honestly, not as much now that I've kind of shifted my mindset. You kind of see the devil less and less. But I, just in my day-to-day, like things that could annoy me or whatever, I'm just like, no, I'm going to pray about that. I'm going to just offer it up. And I really mean it. I really, really mean it. And it's just crazy because, you're so used to yourself being one way for so long. And I've always had these core things within me. And my faith, and, I've gone to Catholic school my entire life, college and all. And it's always in you, but it's just when does it become second nature? And I think I really just was starting to work on that muscle. And it feels good. It feels really good. I was going to say it kind of feels good. It feels amazing. And I was in New York City this weekend, which I'll get to. Don't worry, we're going to talk about the fun stuff too. Not that this isn't fun. You know what I'm saying? And, we're walking through Times Square and we're coming across so many different things and billboards and lights and whatever. And it can be very overwhelming. And there's so many things that are just happening around you. And it's so easy to immediately like get annoyed, like want to like look down on certain things and just be like, oh, this is so annoying. And I'm like, no, that's not how we're going to do things like that. But you have to train yourself. And I'm like, no, that's not. Why would I disrupt myself based on what's going on around me? I can't let emotional things or things of this earth, affect me like that, because it's just, I'm going to constantly be in this state of like, oh, when's the next thing going to happen? How am I going to react when this happens? And I'm like, I don't want that for myself anymore. So New York was the perfect test for me. I don't know, like, if the train is late or people are pushing and shoving, and I'm like, no, we're gonna have grace with this. Trust me, if you're listening to this and you've known me your whole life, like it is, I guess wild is a little extreme because I like I said, I've always been a little like this, but it is just so interesting for me to talk this way when even episode 1, I'm sure I was going off about something and I'm like, I just want to have more peace with some of these things in my life. Like it's just going to bring me so much more fulfillment. And again, it's all that matters. So, okay. I feel like I've said what I want to say, and I'll talk more as these episodes go on, but yeah, just at the end of the day, if the goal is to get to heaven, which I think for many of us it is, then none of this matters. None of the crap, just none of it. And just be aware of where you're putting your energy. I think that's been a big thing for me. Like things I used to watch or listen to and consume, I'm like, I don't feel good. It slowly makes you sick. And like sick in a way where, you feel this heaviness inside of you and you can't quite put your finger on it. And then one day you snap and you're like, I should have been taking care of that sickness all along. So now my goal is to fill my home and my heart and my head with things that are positive, things that matter, interactions with people that I just like meet in the grocery store, trying to make someone else's day better. Like I'm just like, I don't care about anything else right now. I don't. I don't. So, that's that. Okay, we'll get into how my weekend was. This is such a harsh pivot, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So let me start with this. Elephant in the room. I'm not a blonde. I turn 30 next weekend. And my roots were growing in. I'm sure, please go back to the last episode. I'm sure my roots were like, And I knew, I'm like, it's going to be fall. I kind of want to refresh myself. I'm feeling like I'm trying to be just like a better version of myself. And I'm like, let's change the hair to kind of fit what we're doing. So, my sister honestly really influenced me. Colleen was like, you should go with dark hair. I feel like it would work. And, and I don't really get attached. Again, nothing matters, but like, I don't get attached to my hair that much. Like if I hated it, I would just go back and be like, let's get me back to blonde, baby. So, and I have a great hairdresser. Her name's Lauren. Shout out. And she'll like walk me through it. She's like, all right, this will look good with your skin tone. Just so you know, if you get this color, like it's going to grow in like this. Let's try that. I trust her. So, I've been liking it and the feedback's been great so far. So hopefully we enjoy that. My birthday's next weekend, but we're going to be in a wedding. We're going to be at a wedding. Did I say in a wedding? Yeah, my entire family's going to be in this wedding. No, my whole family is going to this wedding. My sister's in it. It's for our girl, Tally. And we're super excited. It's in Boston, and it should be a great time. But Tally didn't take into consideration that it was my 30th birthday when she was planning this wedding like 2 years ago. So a little rude. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, all that to say, my family wanted to celebrate my birthday this past weekend, so there was no conflict. So I didn't know what was going on. I knew I was going to New York because my mom obviously had to get me on a train in New Jersey, and like I'm gonna start putting the pieces together. Like, why the heck are we going to New York? Why didn't you say anything? So I went to my parents. We drove and we got on the train and we went to New York City. And a lot of times I don't ask like a ton of questions. Like when we're in the city and doing things and bopping around, I kind of just go with the flow because I'm like, I'm gonna find out in 5 minutes what we're doing anyway. So at one point we get off the train and we start walking through Times Square, like I mentioned. And we don't really walk through Times Square unless we're going to a Broadway show or something. And I'm like, I don't know why we're walking through here, but I'm like, maybe there's a coffee shop that my sister wants to meet us at, or I just was like, I'm not even going to ask. Like, I'm just going to go with it. And honestly, thank God I didn't, because we ended up walking through and we turned a corner and we ended up in like this quiet neighborhood off to the side. And there was like a courtyard with a table. And my sisters, Colleen and Mary Kate, were sitting there. Colleen's boyfriend, Tim, was sitting there. My boyfriend, Dylan, was sitting there. And they had sandwiches waiting for us. And they surprised me for my birthday, which was just great. And it's really all I wanted. I just wanted to spend it with my family. So I was so happy about that. And quite honestly, sandwiches in the park would have been plenty for me. But my family ended up putting together an entire surprise itinerary. And it was great. I really felt so thought of and so heard and seen, and just like in the details. Like I just was like, this is all stuff that I love to do, and I get to spend it with them, and we're in New York, and it was a beautiful day out. I just really, really felt love. So after we're done eating the sandwiches, we go to our first stop, and we ended up touring NBC Studios. So 30 Rock, we ended up touring, and it was such a cool building, and we had 2 great tour guides, which just really added to it. And you don't know what studio you're going to tour until it goes on. So we're going, and then they're teaching us the history of the building and whatever. And then you end up going into a studio, and then they're like, okay, this is where they film SNL. And we ended up getting to see the SNL studio, which like in real life is just, it's so mind-boggling. Like if you put me in those seats and had me guess, like it would probably take me a minute to realize what studio it was, because it does not, TV is just so different. And I know that from working in TV. Like I've been in studios and just seen the way things work. And like what you're seeing on TV is obviously a lot different than real life. Which I think is also an important thing to keep in mind. But it was really cool to see like the curtain pulled back. And then the other studio we went in was Jimmy Kimmel's. Kimmel, right? Why am I always mixing up the Tonight Show? Yeah, Kimmel. The one who laughs a lot. Kimmel. Okay, if I'm wrong. Okay, we'll fact check that. This is me popping in post-production. It was Fallon. Anyway, that was cool. And at the end, they let you do a newscast. Basically, everyone in your tour group, they assign you a position. Like, okay, you're going to be the anchor. You're the co-anchor. You're the weather person. You're the camera guy. Like, they give you all these different positions. My dad was telling me that the tour guide said, a lot of times when we bring families in here, you got to kind of get them into it. Like, they're like, I don't know if I want to do it, whatever. Not our group. We're like, I'll be the anchor. I'll be the weather person. I'm going to do the camera. Like, we were like all for it. And we did it with another family and another guy. And they really leaned in. And it was just so fun. And then they give you a copy of it. And it's really cool. They use like the Today Show graphics. And it was just a really cool experience. So after that, we ended up going to a rooftop bar. And it was called Electric Lemon, and it just like overlooked the city, and you're so high up, and the weather was just gorgeous, and that was just really fun to be outside, and just I love that stuff. And then we ended up getting dinner at Mr. Chow, and if you know me, I love Asian cuisine. Like it's my favorite. It's probably I think it's my top, I would say, and they surprised me with that, and it was so good. I love like the family style of it all. And it was the best. It was the best. So then I'm like thinking it's all over, and I'm like, okay, and then we'll get the train and we'll go home. And then it's so crazy. I wasn't even thinking about cake. Like I know it was my birthday, birthday celebration. And I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about it. And out of the corner of my eye, I see a candle coming out of the back. And I'm like, oh, they're probably just bringing out a dessert from the back that they already have on their menu. Like it did not register to me. And they put the cake down in front of me, and it was a cake. My sisters had gotten a cake made at Wegmans, and they got 3 photos of me from when I was younger printed on the cake with the Talkin Too Much logo. So it said talking too much about turning 30, something like that. And so we made it onto the cake. And the sprinkles matched the Talkin Too Much logo, and they had 30 candles in there, and they just went above and beyond. And I really felt so grateful. And it was just one of those moments, just even in the midst of all like what I was just talking about, it was just like, this is what matters. This is the stuff that matters, family. And I really left feeling so loved. And, yeah. Oh, one thing I want to point out is my parents got me this cross necklace for my birthday, and I absolutely love it. I got it blessed at Mass the next morning, and you're going to be seeing him a lot. It's literally my favorite. So I was so happy about that. I've wanted a cross necklace. I can't believe I didn't have one, or if I did have one, maybe it was when I was younger, but like I'm so happy to enter 30 with this around my neck. So great weekend. Really had a great time. I'm just feeling so lucky. And everything I was like stressed about last week in the pod and crying about and whatever just seems so little now, and when you really zoom out and think about what matters and what really at the end of the day, like it's not about the stuff. It's not about the gifts. It's not about any of that. Life just becomes so much easier. Like it really does. It's like, I don't care. And I was talking to my friend about this today. Like, it's so weird because when you say I don't care about something, it comes across like almost mean or it might have like a mean connotation. Like, oh, I don't care. But I don't even mean it that way. I think it's so like, I just don't care about that in the capacity that I used to. I care about the people that are involved. I care about human beings. I don't care about the stuff, because at the end of the day, you can't take it with you. So who really cares? Who cares what car you drive? Who cares what clothes you wear? Who cares the size of your house? Who cares? Who cares? I'm getting preachy now, but yeah. Oh, I wanted to tell this one funny story from the weekend. Dylan, who we know has been a co-host on here before, he is allergic to blueberries and corn. I can't remember if that's made it into the episode. I would be shocked if it hadn't, because that's like, it's like his little icebreaker. When we go to a restaurant, they'll say any allergies we should be aware of. I am not telling the chef blueberries and corn. Okay, if I'm at a Spanish restaurant, I'll say corn, because obviously corn tortillas, the corn sides, fine. That makes sense. Like, we got to know where we're at. But it's not an airborne allergy like a peanut. So we're at this Electric Lemon rooftop, and the waitress says, is there any allergies? And I see Dylan like goes to speak, and I'm just like, no allergies. Because I'm like, we're not going to explain that and then like get them all worked up that they got to be careful with it's not like that. Just don't eat. You see a thing of blueberries, don't eat the bowl of blueberries. Don't eat the corn on the cob. Anyway, I said to him, I'm like, nothing that they're bringing out is going to affect you. Like, and you know what you can and can't eat. It's my birthday, and today you're going to eat corn and blueberries, okay? He's like, yeah, you're right. They're probably not going to have anything, like whatever. So I'll just eat around it, blah, blah, blah. What do they bring out? We got a pastry basket. What do they bring out? Cornbread with blueberries in it. Cornbread with blueberries in it. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I love cornbread. I've never had cornbread with blueberries in it. I'm like, oh my God. Someone's got jokes back there. So Dylan, if you're watching this and you've made it this far, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I doubted you and your allergy. Mama loves me a cornbread. I ate it for him. Don't worry. No EpiPen involved. Also, it's not even at the level that he needs an EpiPen. His neck starts to itch, okay? It doesn't stop him from putting down the Cool Ranch Doritos. I can tell you that much. That's that. I think we're going to have a great week. It's going to be a short week for me. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with next week's episode, because I'm not going to be around. Monday is my birthday, and if I was home, I would still film it, even if it's my birthday. But I'm going to be in Connecticut after Boston. I'm a little all over the place, so I don't know, maybe I just like release it late. Maybe I'll release it late, maybe on like a Wednesday or something. So just bear with me. I don't know, I can't guarantee there's going to be definitely an episode on Monday, but don't worry, you'll be hearing from me. Leave a comment below. I love the comments, like truly, and I know I say that every time, but especially when I bring up topics like this, like I do love to hear people who, I've gotten some texts from friends that are like, you really have brought me back to praying, or you've made me look at things a little different. And I'm like, that's what I want to use the platform for. I don't want to come on here and make people feel like it's like heavy and we're complaining and all this stuff. And I really do want people to leave and be like, I feel so good after that. Yeah. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Let's talk too much again next week. Bye guys.